Hi, my name's Rosa. I've been a salon owner and a hairdresser for about 20 years. And welcome to the Salon Guy on Demand. Today we're going to be doing ombre, and I want to teach you some step-by-step techniques from the beginning to the end. I'm excited, so let's get started. Today we have our model Lauren here that we're going to be assessing her hair color, and as you see her hair is really long, so we're going to decide what technique as far as ombre that we're going to be doing and the colors that we're working with. Assessing her hair, I see that she has a natural level 3. From about here to here is about more virgin hair, and then the ends of her hair has a little bit of pre-color going on, a little color history. So I actually am going to do a little bit of a different technique here, but it's not going to affect us on the end results of our ombre. But to achieve the ombre, we're going to do a balayage technique, which is a painting, and towards her frame, I'm going to do it a little bit more to the front so that we can accent her beautiful face that she has going on. Okay, so first I want to pick my sectioning and where I'm going to start with her hair. And what I do first is look at her natural hair fall, which is slightly above her eyebrow on the right side. And that's where I'm going to section the very top to comb it down. So if you can see it a little bit. And then I'm going to section it slightly right behind the ear, sectioning the back from the front and separating the back from the front so that I can keep myself organized. Because I'm actually going to start in the back portion of her hair. Okay, so with my first section, I'm actually going to start in the back portion of her hair, mostly because of the previously colored hair back here. I want to make sure that we get the same goal of light level from the back to the front. So sectioning the first section, I'm going to work with her natural hair right here and bring down about a ½ inch or so down to the bottom and clip this out of my way. And then I'll get started on the painting. With the first section, as I pull down and I see these little natural falls going down, I'm not going to worry about them too much because her lighter shades I want from the mid shaft down to the ends. So about right here where I see that her natural fall is coming in, that's where I'm about to start, right in a little bit below the mid shaft. So I have room to actually work the color all through the hair to blend in. So you see I mixed my lightener. This is what we're working with. I like actually a pretty creamy consistency where it doesn't drip. And that way I have a little bit more control of the hair and of the application. So this is my first applying of the color. And as you see, like with lightener, you know that when you're working with color and you apply it like this, it's actually going to give you that line. So I want to make it a little bit more infused. That's why it's no foils or anything to keep it too severe on that line. So when I'm working with the color and I'm working it through, I'm going to slightly use my pinky finger to blend a little bit more into what's not being colored, just to give it a little bit more of a natural, seamless line. And it softens the consistency of the color, but then my application from that mid shaft down is going to be a little bit more heavier. Then from here, as I lay this down, freestanding, I take my wet towel, clean off my gloves a little bit, and take plastic for the ombre. It's actually designed for ombre, but you can use saran wrap or perforated sort of clear color paper or anything like that that you can see when your color's processing. And I'm just going to lay it right across. And then I'm going to pull the next section down. So now that we have our first section nice and ready, this next section I'm bringing down is about the same amount, about a ½ inch to a little bit over an inch, right directly across from ear to ear, horizontal sections, and just bringing it right down, working with the natural shape of her head. And then I'm just going to click this right out of my way and do the same as step 1, bringing it up at step 2. So I have my lightener in my hand and working right in the mid shaft, pulling it straight down. I actually use my brush as leverance, but if you need to put your brush down and work the application, that's totally fine, so that it's thoroughly saturated. And again, with my pinky, I just slightly brush right on top, just to infuse the next section from what I'm not coloring to where it is going to be colored. So you have step 1 and step 2, and now we're going to work with step 3. Okay, so once I start to get right close to the ear in that section, I'm actually going to divide this huge section where the crest line is and the most amount of hair is into two separate sections, so I can start working on the natural shape of her head going up. So I'm going to split this one in the middle like this, and then clip these out of my way. And with this one right here, this is how you'll start to see the natural fall. I'm going to come right behind the ear and almost do like a slight deep dip into the neck, the shape of the head, slightly like in an angle in here, almost like if it's concave. Okay, so then this is the next section I'll be working on, and from this part, it's a slight little difference on how I'm going to apply the color. First, I comb my hair through, make sure everything is laying. Okay, here we go with our lightener. First steps is the same consistency of step 1 and step 2. Work on my mid shaft, work that color into the hair a little bit, because now since we're working with more hair, we want to make sure that that color is getting applied to every strand. So I'm using my thumb to work that color into the hair, just maneuvering it a little bit and work my way down to the bottom. And as I work my way down to the ends, make sure I'm thoroughly saturated. Before I use my pinky to blend, as I usually do for the first 2 sections, I'm going to use the tip of my brush, just with less color to that brush stroke. I'm going to show you a little bit of a different stroke. Some people use an angle brush. If whatever's to your convenience, that's fine. It's not a right or wrong way to do it when it comes to picking a brush. I prefer a straight one because I can kind of work on these angles, these soft bristles, a little bit easier. So I'm going to work in a little bit of a balayage. This is where the balayage will start to come in, and just brush up a little bit more on that angle towards her ear. Holding my previous pieces where I have the color already on there, holding it a little bit taut and working my way slightly up. And you see it goes from a little bit thicker to a little bit thinner. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Slightly thinner towards the root. This is where that ombre and balayage sort of mirror with each other. And I use my pinky at this point, same brush stroke all the way a little bit up to like make it a little bit more infused, seamless, so that it just doesn't look like a bright light chunk going up to the hair. Switch my fingers so I can work that color in. And if you need to apply some more, go ahead and apply a little bit more. Don't squeeze it closed, you're just slightly brushing your hands right over it. And then I just use my finger again to infuse a little bit more. Slightly go up where you see a little bit that it's even, and work your hands all the way down to the bottom. Make sure all of the hair has the same amount of applicated color from the mid shaft to the end. Let me drop my section. So for the next section, I'm actually going to come to the other side, to the right side of her head, and section mirroring from this little horizontal line that we have here all the way to the next part of her ear. So when I drop this down, what I'm going to do is work my way up. It's sort of in a bricklayer formation, going from left to right all the way up to the top of the head. So we'll come back and we'll see that portion of it all done in the back. Okay, so we have our back all done and all the way up with the same ombre technique with their plastic right over top of it, obviously to see the application and how that, the activation and how that is processing, so we can keep an eye on the color. And as I move to the sides, because it takes a little bit of time to actually paint and do your technique, especially if you're doing it for the first time, I refreshed the color and remixed it so that I have a nice fresh like a strong potency to it, and so that it can process the same way as the back would. And did not change my developer, although that can be a question that people ask as far as 20, 30, 40. developer. I did not change it just so that I can get the same strength in all the way through the top with her hair being longer. It does take a little bit more time on processing. And with that, analyzing her hair in the front and her hairline, another question is how do you apply it directly on the scalp or directly to the root? And for a nice seamless look, I would not suggest to do it directly onto the scalp. When it will look really awkward if it's pulled up like in a bun or something like that. You want to consider almost as if the sun did it. So less is more when it comes to the hairline. And that way you don't really have to focus too much on that as much as you would from the mid shaft to the ends. So I'm gonna get started on her side and we'll work our way up to the top. Okay, so same rule applies to the front to the back when it comes to my starting point. I'm applying the color from the mid shaft to the ends. The change here is gonna be when I get to use my finger to blend. I'm actually gonna do, again, a little bit of the balayage technique just to get closer to her scalp. So right here, I go work my way up to this angle. See, I leave it a little less is more. And then I go a little heavier as I apply down. Just blend it. Don't worry about the baby hairs. Just blend it and keep coming down, and then slowly use your pinky and then slide it all the way down so that you get a little bit more. You can almost like see where her smooth and color is gonna go, like as she moves her hair. So just remember to keep a visual of that. And then I'm gonna work that same technique as I go up in sections all the way up to the top. From the front, going a little bit more stronger, to the back without the second line in here. Okay, so now that we have the back and the side finished, I just wanted to take a quick second to show you what I did with the top. And I didn't do it as thick saturated all the way to the root, just to give it a little bit more of a natural look. I mean, we're not doing a foil back to back or anything like that. This is a totally different type of feel. It's kind of getting out of your comfort zone. But then we're gonna go and take this same technique on this side that I did to the other side, and then we'll come right back and show you all of it together. Okay, now that we have her application already all applied all over her head, we're going to be talking about the processing. And the back, obviously, because we used lightener, it's going to process and timing a little different than the front. So this is where like you can gauge when you get to the front to use either a higher volume, if the hair porosity can handle it. If not, keep the level either the same and just refresh the color as you keep going. And we're gonna look at the back and see how that goes. And if we need to take that part off first, we can do that at the shampoo bowl, and we'll let the other ones apply. But we'll get to that soon. So in the meantime, let's just wait until see how she processes and take it from there. All right, so after processing her for about 20 to 25 minutes, sometimes you're gonna have to use a heat lamp. We use that a little bit to just help her out. But this is the tone that's a perfect tone for us. You can see that it's all done for our end result that we're looking for. So after I shampoo her, we're gonna tone her to a nice cool tone to kind of cancel out some of the brassiness. So just keep in mind, depending on the end results and how light you wanna go, it determines that end result, determines the tone and stuff like that that you're looking for. So this is perfect for us. So now we're gonna shampoo it. Well, here we have Lauren's end result to her ombre. Look at this color, isn't it great? It's so amazing. It has such dimension of different shades of her blonde. Lauren, do you love it? We love it. It looks great, very natural look, very like soft layer, just how I was explaining to you guys earlier. Just framing her face very natural, almost as if the sun did it, with a little bit more dramatic going on in the ends. And there you go. Thank you for watching my ombre tutorial on the Salon Guy on demand. Look forward to seeing you next time.